Hey Rusty, it's 48RE time. We're going to be going back together with your transmission starting tomorrow. Today is Monday, June 30th. Tomorrow is July 1st. So filming this today, one day early, so that we can get a jump start in the morning on your 48RE. So for anyone else watching, consider this kind of like a build strategy and or part selection overview and considerations video, similar to all the other ones I do. So I want to do this for the benefit of customers so that they know exactly what's going into their transmission and have a little bit of context and, can share a little bit about, what we're spending our money on here. So like all transmissions, the Dodge 4Speeds are no different. Everything starts and ends with hydraulics and electronics and or electrical components. So do not skimp on those parts. We have all our bolts and smart parts here and our new vehicle speed sensor, new transducer. We also have a range position switch, a harness and OD/TCC solenoid assembly, as well as a D&J Components governor pressure solenoid block, which is made of billet aluminum and features a 4L60, 4L80E electronic pressure control solenoid. I pretty much have been installing these in every single 4-speed Dodge that I've built. I would say over the past probably at least 4 years now. And they're a nice upgrade over the problematic factory Chrysler governor pressure control solenoid, in that they are more stable, more reliable, and give you a little bit of a boost in line pressure. Between that and the billet aluminum is a nice touch and a great upgrade for these transmissions. Okay, we're also going to install a Sonix manual valve to shore up any weakness in the somewhat problematic manual valve in these transmissions. We installed a lube regulated pressure regulator valve in the valve body, and normally I also install a 4-spool switch valve, but when we did vacuum testing in this valve body for the 4-spool switch location, it actually tested really strong at 21 inches of vacuum, so it's healthy, so no need to replace it. All right, so that's the valve body. It's good to go in all other respects. So like I said, you want to kind of checkmate any kind of underlying problems that may go back in with the transmission by addressing your electrical components as well as your hydraulics. So a customer brought me a Durali pan here. This is a deep pan. It comes with, its own hardware and a drain plug with a filter. And so I like these pans because they feature these cooling tubes. They're very effective and efficient at exchanging heat with the outside air, help keeping the fluid cool inside the transmission, especially for towing and hauling in summer months, especially out here where we live in Vegas. So if you live in the desert Southwest or another hot, arid, dry climate, having a deep pan combined with a large capacity aftermarket transmission cooler will help keep temperatures in check, especially if you're towing and hauling or doing some other kind of high intensity, high performance or heavy duty, activity with your vehicle. All right, so moving on down the line here, this is the old original roller bearing out of the transmissions for the output shaft. There are two versions of these. The large diameter bearing, meaning the inner portion of the bearing, is for your 4x4s, and then your small diameter bearings are for your 2-wheel drives. So if your bearing sounds like this when you spin it, okay, even when you soak it in fluid, replace it. In fact, it's good practice just to replace these as a matter of course, and that's what we're doing here. Now, when it comes to the pump, I take the same kind of a general approach to the pump gears. So these are the old gears. They appear to be in good shape, but there's no doubt some wear to them, especially when you think about the relationship between the drive gear here and the driven gear in terms of the spacing. All right, new gears. I always like to install this set of gears anytime I'm going back with one of these units. Okay, all new bushings have been installed everywhere bushings are accepted. So we have a nice Durabond Teflon coated bushing here for the pump body, so reduces wear between it and the torque converter. And then the stator itself receives bushings as the direct drum and all the other components that take them. Sun gear, I should say, not the shell itself, but the main sun gear and the overdrive sun gear, new bushings installed. All right, so continuing on, we're going to install a Raybestos GPC friction module into this transmission. So the GPZ frictions are a nice upgrade over the factory kind of paper or traditional standard material when it comes to clutches. And it's important to note that if you're going to go with the GPZs, you do have to use a certain combination of steel plates in the direct drum. It's designed to give you more frictions than factory in the direct drum, so you're going to need different thicknesses of steels there. I recommend getting the GPZ specific steel module if you can find it. Otherwise, stock up on maybe a couple of extra forward frictions for the forward drum, as well as additional direct clutch and or I should say, yeah, direct clutch flat steels. So that's why we have some extra steels on the bench, and I also have some additional factory spec frictions for the direct clutch in the event we need to kind of mix and match to get our clearance. And clearance for the direct drum is critically important. You don't want any less than 98 thou. You don't want any more than about 160 thou. All right, so that's the direct drum. As you can see, it's got a new bushing. And then for the forward drum, you have the clutch basket with a new Belleville plate here. That's really, as far as caring for the forward drum, that's the main thing you want to take away. Don't reuse those Belleville plates. They can break on you. All right, for the intermediate band, we have a Raybestos Pro Street band. I run these on pretty much every one of these transmissions that I build, or at least this level of band. I never reuse the factory spec band, with the standard friction material. Always use the Raybestos Pro Street. And then we pair that with the Sonic's intermediate servo assembly. So you have a billet piston and cover, as well as a sleeve, and then a whole kit that Sonic's gives you, including the apply pin and the seal kit, so that you basically replace 100% of the factory servo. And it's what I recommend for any 727 or 4-speed, descendant transmission like this one. All right, so you're gonna see kind of a mixture, hodgepodge of overdrive section and main case section here as far as all the gear parts and such. So we have our overdrive roller clutch assembly. It's a dual roller setup. Always replace your one-way assemblies. And we're gonna pair that with a new bearing kit. So this is a bearing plate and a bearing for the overdrive giant return spring here that you see. So this thing's like 800 pounds of pressure, and it's very common for these bearing plates to warp, especially in high mileage, very intense use, heavy duty type vehicles. So it's my recommendation that you replace it every time you overhaul one of these units. Okay, everything else is pretty much par for the course. Nothing unusual until we get to the overdrive brake clutch. And here's what I'm going to recommend on all 4 speeds, 46, 47, 48 RE, A518, A618, which are the RH versions. And that is for the overdrive brake clutch pack, which is basically your 4th gear. That's what's on. And that gives you 4th gear. You want to roll with a stepped pressure plate, and that'll give you an extra capacity for one more friction and one more steel plate in this pack. So again, strongly recommended. Most of the transmissions that come in only have 5 clutches, 5 steels, and the standard, relatively thick backing plate. And they also come with both snap rings, the wave snap ring and the flat snap ring. When you go to the step pressure plate and you add the additional friction and steel, you delete the waved snap ring and you only install the flat snap ring. All right, and then for your overdrive directs, it is always recommended you replace the overdrive direct clutch snap ring with the replacement. These love to break, and higher mileage units, they get even more vulnerable than otherwise. So strongly recommend you replace this snap ring. It's only like 10 bucks or something like that. But I noticed the aftermarket versions, or the versions at least that are available now, I don't know if these are actually from Chrysler or not, but they're a little bit beefier than the original ones. So if you were to compare this to the one that came out, you'd notice that the one there on the bench is slightly wider. So, just something to keep in mind. All right, let's see what else we have. Let's talk about this thing here in the baggie. For 48RE starting in 05, they received something called a throttle valve actuator motor. Okay, this takes the place, I should say, of the throttle valve lever, the mechanical lever with the cable that was in all of these transmissions prior to 2005. So if you have a 48RE and it's organic to the 48REs, none of the other 4 speeds had them, If you have a 48RE with high miles and you're not sure when, or you don't know if that motor assembly's ever been replaced, then I would recommend you replace it, because otherwise, if it malfunctions or fails on you, it is possible you can burn down the transmission, and that's no good. Okay, aluminum 1-2 accumulator piston, never reinstall the plastic pistons. If your unit's been gone through, at least by a competent shop, you should have an aluminum accumulator piston already in there. But if not, put one in on overhaul. All right, so just like we did with the intermediate servo, we're going to install Sonic's low reverse servo assembly. So it consists of the piston itself as well as the plug, and you're going to reuse the original factory return spring. So the Sonic's kit comes with a little snap ring as well, and a sealing, or I should say a lip seal, not a sealing ring, a lip seal, so that you can install it there on the servo. And then we have our low roller clutch assembly, a new rear case support. This case support's designed to work with either the RH or RE series transmissions. And if you have an RH series transmission, you'll install it just like it is and put the O-ring. If you have an RE series transmission, like the one that we're working on, you'll install these two plugs, and they block off the governor feed tubes that go, through the back of the case, through these two little ports right here, and to the governor that rotates on the output shaft. All right, we have a new bearing as well for the selective spacer for the overdrive brake piston. So this sits between the hub, and that's the overdrive hub right here, okay? It goes on this side of it. And it sits between that hub and your spacer that goes on this side of the piston. So it just goes like this. This part of the bearing here that's facing you now goes face down like that, or faces it, I should say. All right, new reverse band. So I never reuse any friction material. So if it's clutch discs or bands, I always replace them. That's, pretty much without exception. Other than on a super rare case, I'm working on a unit that literally there's no, band available or something. That's extremely rare. All right, so that's a nice down and dirty rundown of everything we're going to be doing. Rusty, as always, thank you so much for the opportunity to, have me work on your transmission. Look forward to getting into this one and getting it all done for you. All right, everyone else, thanks so much for watching. Take care and enjoy the rest of your week, and have a great and safe 4th of July weekend.